Hello y'all. Today I'm going to go through the process I went through to decode this S&G 6730 combination lock. I'm not going to actually go through the process on video with an unknown combination, but I have my spreadsheet and I'm going to take you through what it took to do this. Sorry I didn't get my keyboard organized, but I'll need that to look at the spreadsheet. So the first thing we'll do is look at the concept we're using to decode this, and then we'll talk about the setup. So this isn't going to be a comprehensive look, but basically what you have in these locks is you have this thing that's moving right now, and that's the cam. Okay, and then you have, I'm not going to remember all the names of these things at the moment, but like this latch, and then you have these wheels. And on the back of this latch, there's a gate, or there's a fence that has to fall into the gate on all three wheels in order for it to open. So you can see as you start to turn that cam, at some point it'll pick up this outermost wheel. And if we were to turn it like this, that wheel is now in position for this to fall down in. So if they were all in that position, if all the wheels were in that position, we would come back here, this would fall in, and then when you turn it to the right, it would pull this bolt in. Okay, so that's the concept, and basically what we're doing is we're putting these wheels in different positions and we're testing for a low spot. And the way we're testing is these contact points. If you'll hit those contact points sooner here if you have a low spot because you're on a gate, and because all these wheels aren't exactly the same perfect tolerance, you can find those low spots. So that's the basic concept. Let me show you, oh, and then I should point out too, the method I'm using to test here is I'm actually feeling this touch and I'm just giving it a tiny tap or a tiny turn with my fingers and letting it push back to get a reading. You can actually see it up there on the protractor. We're a little on the other side of 90. And that's about where we'll be for every reading. Okay, so now that's done, we get organized here a little bit again, where we can actually see the combination lock, and I'd like to also get the screen in view. So there we go. Again, this won't be comprehensive detail on how to do this, but it should give you a decent idea of what at least I'm doing. So the first thing we do is, if we turn this thing to the left, we're going to turn all the wheels so that they're to the left. So we're going to test all the wheels for low point. So I'm going to stop at 0 after I turn it several times, at least 3 times I need to turn it. And I'm going to actually zoom in here, if I can do that. Yep. To the, let me just add some row columns so we can see. Let's see. Sorry, Google Sheets is not maybe the best. Okay, now can I add? Dang, this is annoying. Sorry. Just have to keep adding columns until you can see what I want you to see in the middle of the screen here. Okay, there we go. So basically here, maybe if I tilt the camera up for a second, you can see that I'm going to go through all the numbers 2 at a time, because those gates are wide enough that you can see the fence hit with going 2x2s. And I'm gonna record where my contact points are. And then I have a little graph of them here. So I'm gonna show you a few examples of like a normal contact point with no low spot, and then we'll go ahead and go to where the first number is and I'll show you that. So get back on to where we can see. I will say also our contact points on this dial are at 9-ish, and I'm gonna have to redo my left turn, but I'll go ahead and that's okay. And then the other is at right there around 97. Okay, so I'm gonna redo my turn to the left. And then also real quick here, I'm gonna just talk about the protractor. So the differences you're looking for when you see these drops can be like 1/10 of a number on our dial here. So like if you look at that, like say I'm on 10 here, the difference can be like that, right? So that's like very small and very hard to keep track of and detect with your eye. However, if you look up at my paper clip that I have bent out there, you can see that moving that little 1/10 is actually like a whole number. You could also use a ruler. I just use a protractor because I like the shape. I only need to read it at the contact points, so I put the paper clips on so that those are near the top. So there's one contact point and there's the other. And these numbers I'm reading around 80 to 90s, or I guess it's actually the 90s and 100s. And you'll see that I also called everything on the left 80. So I called this like 90 through 96 and this 85 through 90, even though the protractor reads the opposite way. So sue me, I guess. Anyway, that's what I'm using. I'm just using those to magnify. And again, since I only have to test these two contact points, I only need the paper clips in these two spots. And so let's get started. So I'm gonna turn this thing again, make sure all these discs are picked up into the left, okay? And if you notice when I stop on 0, I can't reach that contact point at 9. But I can go all the way back around as far as 0 without touching any discs. And so my cam is coming back around, but the discs aren't moving. So I can get to 9 this way. So now here's the part where you have these very small movements. I'm just like barely moving with my fingers. And I hear the first tiny click and feel it. And then I just barely nudge to the left. And you can see based on the reading on camera here, I would call that 91.75. And so I would just put that, so I have my numbers of 0 through 100 here, if you look in the background. So up here at 0, which you can't see, I would just put 91.75. It looks like maybe my paperclip was moved a little bit since yesterday, because yesterday I had 92.25. So that's 0. So now if I go back around, I can test 2. So I'm going to move all the discs to 2. And I still can't get to my right contact point. So I'm going to come back and come back to 9. And I'm going to do that test. And I'm going to see, I'm going to go kind of quick here. But I'm going to see that I get that little nudge back right around 91.75 still. So I would record that. And then I would go back around again. Sorry, I'm going to have to go back and do all left again. I went the wrong way. But that's okay. So I would go back around again, and then I would come to 4, and then go back around and test. And I'm going to see again, here it looks like maybe 91.5, 90, wait. Sorry, I'm going to actually read it from the camera so you can see what I'm looking at. So I would call that 91.25, so it's a little lower. And then I'll go back around and set everything to 6 and come back and test. And you can see on this one, I'm just getting that little nudge back. and it's actually right around 91. So I would go through and keep doing this until I see something different. And because we've already been through the process, I know that I started seeing something around 46. So let's actually go to 46. So I'm going to just go ahead and do all disks to the left again. And this time I'm going to go to 46. And since we're past our contact point now at 10 there, you can see I actually don't have to like do the full spin to move it to the next number, if that makes sense. I'll say it again in a second here. So at 46 now, you can see I'm at like 92.5-ish. Now I'm not being quite as precise as I was when I actually cracked this, but I'm giving you a pretty good idea. You can see that little pushback. It's around 92.5. Okay, so then we'll go down to 48, and then now come back and do a test. And wow, would you look at that? Now we're at 94. And what I would do is, once I see that signature happening, I would keep going, go ahead and go down a little further, and you can see I did that here on my spreadsheet until I get back to somewhere in the range where I was, and say, okay, it looks like there's a signature of a disk here, which I also have a graph that kind of shows. Also, you can't really see it, but you can see we're going along, and then we have this big jump, and then we come back. And so on one side of the wheel, we were at one height, we hit the number, and then we come to another height. So that's kind of what that looks like. So I would keep going there. But then what I would do next is I would actually say, okay, now we know where that number is about, because we've gone by twos. I would come back all left, and I would start again. And since the number we saw somewhere around 48, I would actually do this every number to refine that a little bit. So I would say like 46, come back and do a test. And I would write that down. And I actually have that on the spreadsheet too here. We can scroll over. Of course, let's see. Oh, okay, there's a better way to insert rows. Excellent. Let me just insert some rows so we can see, get that down where you can see it. So this is where I actually went in and refined. So I'm testing every single number now to try to really get where the center of the gate is. And you can see I got my best result here. Kind of got pushed farthest to the right by that little latch at 94.75. So now I'm pretty confident that 94.75 is a number. Actually, I'm very confident it's a number for this type of lock. So if it were some other styles of locks with false gates and stuff, I might not know that, but I feel pretty good about it. So now we need to figure out what wheel is this number on. So is it your first, second, or third number? And the way we figure that out is this thing called a high-low test. So the way we do that is we would set one of the wheels off to a different number. So basically, we set all three wheels to the same number, and then we move one off. And whenever you move off the wheel that has the number on it, you lose that deeper set. So you won't get that deeper reading. And sometimes with this, I actually end up using, this is where I end up using the right contact point, because it's sometimes hard to tell. So what you can do is look at the difference from the right contact to the left contact, and just look for the one that has the biggest gap. So I can show you here. We can just look at wheel 3, which is the last one. And so I won't talk about how I'm dialing the numbers in, because you can put in the different numbers as the full combination, but there are other ways to do it, and I'm actually going to have to stop and think for a second. So I want 2 wheels to be at 49, and I want the last wheel not to be. So I'm going to go oh, I left off part of this. So you want to set two of the wheels to your number and one wheel to a different number. And in this case, I'm just setting it to 10 above or 10 below. And I only ended up needing to use 10 above. So whenever I knock that gate off, that wheel will show a different reading. So I'm going to go ahead and set 2 wheels to 49. And then I'm going to scroll around and pick up my last wheel at 49. And actually, I'll just do a load test and set it to 39. That'll work. Okay, and then now without touching any wheels, I'm going to go back to my spot where I can test and see what I have here and get my reading. I guess actually, you know what? Let's just do so I wanted to set wheel 3 to 59. So I'll just dial the whole thing in for you. That'll be okay. So I'm going to put in a combination that is 49. And then to put in the combination for 49, again, we go past it once, twice. And on the third time, we stop on 49. And then we go past 59 once, come back, set that third wheel to 59. And now we can do our test. So you can see here, I'm getting a reading of about, I'd call it maybe 94.25 on the camera. You got to make sure you keep your angle the same. You're looking at this thing. I tried to get the paper clip really close to the scale so the angle doesn't matter as much. That's why the thing has to sit on the edge of my desk because the paper clip would sweep the desk. So anyway, 94 or so. When I did it yesterday, it looks like I got 95. And then because it's not always obvious on this test, I also test this way. And this contact point's a little different. It doesn't so much push back, but if you're very careful, you can just feel where it first clicks. And it's way back there at what I would call 84.5 or so. So again, my paper clips might have gotten moved, but the third wheel was the biggest number yesterday. I also should note that I checked, and you can't see it here, but I have a note that says 49 can be dialed left or right. So when I found that 49 where I kept moving up by 2 numbers, I also went back and did it the other way to make sure I got the same result. That way, when I'm dialing in different wheels, I know that I can come at that number from either direction. Sometimes it can be slightly different if you come from the wrong direction, but in this case, it was the same. So that was the high-low test. Based on the results here, this was the widest spacing, which means that was the wheel where we got thrown off. So now moving on, you have a similar process again where you go through and test the other 2 wheels. So you always want to have that wheel set to 49 now that you know the third number is 49. And so you can see on my graph here, I actually started at 49. So I go, I won't go into all the detail, but like it's easiest to go 4 turns to the right or 3, whatever it is. I just do a bunch and go to 49. Now everything's to 49. And I know that that's one number, so I'm actually going to go ahead and go to the next, which is 47. And then I'm going to go all the way around and pick up that last third disc, pick it up again at 47 and put it back at 49, and then go do a test and record my results. And now, because we're in that first gate all the time, our numbers will be higher. So will be getting pushed back further by that. Our cam will be pushing our gate will be pushing our cam back further. Sorry, not our gate. The little latch will be pushing our cam back more. So same process now. Let's see, I went all right, and then, dang, if I talk a bunch, I forget what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna start over with all right. So we go all right, and this time instead of 47, I'm gonna go to the next number, which is 45. I'm gonna go pick up that last gate and set it back to 49, do a test, record it. Then I'm going to go set everything to 43, and then go pick up that last disc and set it back to 49. And so every time I do this, then I'm going to record my results again. And every time I do this, I'm setting that third disc back to 49 because I know that's the right number. And I'm testing the first and second disc to look for a low spot. And I record those results, and I come up with a graph. And you can see here, this graph, I actually started over here at 49 and worked my way back. And you see this high spot. And that's where I stopped because I saw a signature. I came over. Let me get some more columns in here. Oops. No. Sorry, I keep having to add columns because Google Sheets will not let you scroll if you don't have the columns made, which is weird. Okay, so anyway, once I found that point over here on the graph where I have the low spot in wheel 1 or 2, then I do a high-low test again. So that high-low test looks like the last number of the combination is 49 for both, and I only have to throw off a number for each wheel. So my signature was at 27. So for the first one, I set wheel 1 to 37. It's just a 10 off test. You can do 10 off, 15 off, 20 off, whatever. But I'm just seeing if moving that wheel off of 27.5, actually I guess it is, gets you off the gate. And so in this capacitor. Woohoo, flux capacitor. And so in this case, does that first one get you off the gate? And then I say, okay, let's throw off wheel 2 while keeping the first wheel at my 7.5. I actually typoed this when I put it in. It should be 27.5. But I put in the right combination, so apparently it worked. And then I can see here the difference between these two. Obviously, this one is much wider. So I say that when I threw off the first wheel, hold on. Sorry, nope, I said that backwards. Don't be green anymore. So 27.5 is the second number. So, because when I threw off the second wheel, I got a narrower spacing. That's it. Okay, yeah. Right. Yeah, this stuff, you know, it can get a little confusing. This is why it took me a couple of practice sheets, which you don't see here. Just kind of working with the lock and not actually blind opening it to get it. But once you get into it and it's kind of in your head, then it gets better. So I'm planning to do it a few more times just to really cement that process. But anyhow, I got that 27.5 as the second number. And then now we have two numbers and we know where they go. So over here, I have some columns that are just every possible combination using those numbers. And what I did was I started going through them by twos, even though I put every number here. So you can see the first number, 27.5 is the second, 49 is the third. And when I got to, and I figured if the even numbers, if I missed it somehow by a little bit, then I would go back and do the odds. So But it turns out even worked, and I put in 16, 27, 49, and the lock opened. So just so you can see kind of what that is, like if I go all left, stop on 16, and then go, oh, sorry. Let's just start over. All left and stop on 16. And then we want 27.5, so we got to go past it once, twice, and then dial it. We're picking up those other gates, or those other wheels. And then we go past 49 once. Okay. And then we're going to turn to the right, and it's going to open. And I'll actually pick this thing up so you can see what happens when it opens. Sorry, it's like hard to hold all this stuff with these whiskers on it. Okay, so we're going to turn it to the right. Okay, and so when you go over here, we're going to drop down in. Oh, I might have missed the number just by a little bit. Okay, we'll dial it in again. Okay, sorry about that. All left. Let's do it precisely. 16. Dang. Start over. All right. All left, we go to 16. Then we go past 27.5. Once, twice, and then we dial it. I think I might have done 26.5 last time. By the way, it's not, I mean, the number can be anywhere. Half is just what I found when I was decoding it. So, and then last number is 49. So we'll go past it once and dial it. And I'm going to start turning it right so I don't accidentally bump it and mess that number up. Okay. And then now hopefully this works this time. We go to the right and we don't drop in. Looks like my first number is too far. So I never refined it, but maybe I just got lucky to be close enough that time. So let's try like 15.9. It's possible I just dialed it like that. Once, twice, dial 27 and crap. I went past it. All right, so let's just do like 15.5. And then we go 1, 2, then we're going to dial 27.5. And then we're going to go past 49, back to it. Again, to go a little to the right so I don't bump it. And then let's see if we can see the open. If I can not be incompetent for just a second. Okay, so now hopefully all of our gates are in line. Nope, I can see that back one's not already. So, dang, that first wheel needs to be more to the right, which means, you know what, let's just stop turning this thing around. Sorry, this is super annoying. So, 16. Once, twice. 27.5. I might have gone too far. 49. Nope. 16. Once, twice. 27.5. 49. Really not sure why that's not opening. So okay, I think maybe I was actually needed to be a little on the other side of 16. The left and right get confusing if you try to look into this thing and to decode it. So maybe I just needed to be a little hair past 16, once, twice past 27 and a half. We will dial it. Then we'll go back to 49. And still isn't opening. All right, I'm not gonna pick it up anymore. We're just gonna do this. All right. Oh shit, have I been going right instead of left? No, I haven't. Okay, good. All right, 16, once, twice, 27 and a half, 49. All right, let's do 15. 15. Nope. 15. Once, twice, 27 and a half, 49. There we go. Okay. Wow. I will keep this video so you can see everyone has problems occasionally. But apparently I can open this by decoding it, but not just by putting in a combination, at least today. So this little thing is a relocker. It normally gets pushed by the cover that goes on this. So you can see though, when I got all those gates lined up, this thing just falls in and your bolt gets pulled. So that's how that works. Sorry for the 5 minutes or whatever of incompetence, but there you go. That's how I decoded this thing, and probably going to do it a few more times and then maybe get a more advanced combination lock, or maybe I'll just leave it alone. Anyway, there you have it.